ladies, and I am Maya.
And welcome to episode 3 of season 1 of Prioritize Moi.
Turn us up.
Yes. So I'm ready to dive in. Are you ready?
I'm so excited.
I'm excited as well. So let's chat a little bit about self-care and kind of just talk a little bit about that. So I first saw this posting based off of the definition of self-care, and I wanted to read it to you guys. I thought it was very, very interesting. It says, the active process of making your body and the mind a pleasant place to inhabit by filling your own cup first. This ensures you have enough to give to others.
Yes.
So I thought that was very, very interesting. Even looking at this, it's a lot of activity, it's a lot of presence, a lot of awareness in this as well. So I want to start off and just ask, what is self-care to you? Like, how would you define it?
Self-care, I think for me, one of the parts in that quote that talks about pouring into your own cup is very important, because I kind of refer to that in the terms of watering my own plant.
Right.
So that's kind of the gist of what self-care is, like just watering my own plant, taking that time for Maya, whatever that might be, going to work out, going to get a massage. Also just being present and aware, because sometimes we kind of like just get in the midst of life that we're not like channeling in on our own inner emotions, and that's a part of self-care too. So just being present and aware of like how I'm feeling this week. Like, am I in the mood? Like, what's up? What's going on? What's the root of why I'm feeling this way? And just kind of caring for myself and kind of nurturing myself and trying to get myself back up to, your girl Maya. But how about you? Like, what is self-care to you?
Self-care to me is, I feel like it relates to this quote. Not this quote, but this definition. And it's so crazy because I'm looking at it and I'm just like, ooh, this is interesting, because I have to be very present and active, but I feel like regarding self-care, it's all about me feeling comfortable about myself. And it brings up, I think my definition is being comfortable, but it says more so like a pleasant place to inhabit. Like you being, it's pleasant, it's like nourishing, I can't even talk. But I feel like that's pretty much how I define it. You just being comfortable within your own skin, being comfortable with yourself, and that's the first start into launching into taking care of yourself, because you know what your body needs. You know what you need to fill your cup. Like you said, you got to know how to pour into yourself before you pour into others. So I believe that's just exactly what this is saying. But then it's like, I get it, because through our own experiences, we're doing exactly that.
And I definitely agree with the pouring into yourself, watering your plant before you can ever water anybody else's plant or pour into anybody else. Because if you're not giving yourself that love or that water or those nutrients, how are you going to be 100% effective for somebody else? Partner, friend, like your career, like it goes with anything, you know what I'm saying? And then you also said something about just like the within part, and I think that kind of correlates, because you guys know I'm a fitness coach, so I have my own fitness business, and my slogan is the journey begins within. So it's literally, the reason why I made that was because it's like the fitness journey for me was always for Maya to feel good about Maya, for Maya to feel good within. It was never the external features that were going to change. I mean, duh, like that's common sense. Like, you're working out, eventually something's going to change about the outside of you, but I needed the inside of me to change so that I can even enjoy what happens on the outside. So I think that kind of all correlates to just self-care, self-love, pouring into self.
Yeah, and there's a Susan Berry brought up a something regarding self-care, and she says, with every act of self-care, your authentic self gets stronger, and the critical, fearful mind gets weaker. So that is something that you have to prepare to experience through the times of you going through self-care and loving yourself and all of that whole journey. And she also says every act of self-care is a powerful declaration. she says, I am on my side, I am on my side. Each day I am more and more on my own side. You have to advocate for yourself and be on your own side as well, especially in that process of self-care. And I feel like there's different forms of self-care too. But I think what we're particularly talking about is more so what we're about is prioritizing yourself, prioritizing who you are, taking care of yourself, loving yourself, and that's pretty much the spectrum that we're really talking about. So what are your self-care practices? I know we talk about self-care a lot, like
we do
outside of business, but in our friendship.
We love to just feel at peace, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of what I try to practice is just anything that I want to do in terms of benefiting my self-care, it has to have some type of peace in it. So working out, of course, is one of my peaceful things I like to do, whether I'm mad, happy, sad. I can go in the gym with any emotion and it just like channels me out for the next hour. Like I just take it all out. Also massages. I'm a big advocate for going to get a massage because it is gonna calm you down. It just puts you in a calm mood. I also like car rides, nature walks, I'm a scenery girl. I'm a very visual person. So like car rides or just going to walk in nature, things like that. Like just peace, calm, because the world is so chaotic on the outside. If you don't protect your temple, you gonna slip in the world. So literally anything that brings me just like peace, I'm all for it. Yeah. What about you?
Me, girl, you know I love to rest.
She do.
I love to rest.
Paighton will take a nap. Hibernation, actually.
Yes, and I feel like that's just me. I love resting, but I will say just to rest, just not, I just want to just lay down. No, like I'm intentionally resting my mind. I may have a lot going on my mind. I'll be like, okay, if I may get a headache or I'm like, okay, I'm starting to be forgetful with certain things. I know, okay, I need to lay down. Take a pause, rest my body, allow, you talk about with health, allow your food to digest, like all that. I don't know. I think about it that way, but I love to rest. Massages are another thing too. I will say, from my own experience, and I'm gonna be transparent, I used to get a lot of massages, but I haven't been lately. So I have to really get back into that. And I know life happens, we all know life happens, but
life be lifing.
It be lifing for real. So I had to get back into that because I really did see a change in it enhancing that journey for me. So massages, what else I would say is like a self-care? I think I've gotten to a place where I've started doing my own hair. It's been like 3-4 years now. I used to have like this particular color in my hair. I had blonde in my hair. I was really going for it. And it was to a point where I didn't take care of it the way I should have. So
take care of your hair.
Miss Ma'am had to cut her hair. And after that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I had to cut my hair. So that was a process for me. And on top of that, I was like, I just want to go natural. Like with my natural curls, just redefining my curls. And I have, it's a long day, but I've learned I can cut some time, me knowing exactly what I need to do. But me knowing like, this is like a self-care. I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my hair. I'm taking care and trying to make sure, my goals regarding how I want my hair to be. I'm going to go for it. But in the end, it's caring for myself. So,
I think all of that facts. I think all of that correlates to like self-care, like you said, like redefining yourself, like in periods of like nurturing your body and caring for yourself, you have to like take a step back, regress, and push forward. Like you have to redefine yourself because you're never the same each year. Each year you grow differently. So each year you have to adjust some things. Like Paighton was sharing, like she stopped getting massages. Now she feels like she can put it back in her routine again. And life happens. And I feel like, what do we do when life happens? Like, what should people do when they feel like they're at like a breaking point and they're like, I want to care for myself, but I can't get over this hiccup? What are some tips?
I think maybe for me, I'm very intentional now with creating like reminders and putting things in like a calendar to ensure I stay committed to it. And I think for me now, like with my life, there's a lot going on where I have to fit in and squeeze in things, and then I forget, oh, I had this commitment. So it's kind of like me being organized and being intentional of making sure my schedule is allowing me to be in control of it, but then also saying, okay, I can fit this time in. And honestly, it really does not have to be like a whole 30 minutes. Like it could be 15 minutes, 5 minutes. It can be a few pages of a chapter of a book that you're trying to complete and finish. You know, just be patient with yourself, pace. It's not happening overnight. You know, it's an evolving thing. So just take your time with it. So that's what I would say.
Yes.
Just try to create a schedule where you can be organized.
And I can definitely piggyback off of that because I'm definitely very like organizational OCD. Like, have to have the calendar. So I definitely think like just kind of like organizing your thoughts, like interrupting the thought of you can't get over this hurdle. And like interrupting that negative thought and bringing in something positive, like organize your thoughts, try to figure out what you can do that might be little, but can get you over that hiccup. Because it doesn't have to be nothing big. Like maybe just planning a date with your friend. Right. That is a form of self-care. I do want people to know that. Like going out by yourself is a form of self-care. Planning a date with one of your friends that you haven't seen in months is a part of self-care. Like self-care is anything that brings you peace, happiness, joy, all of the above. And then to just talk about that evolving word, because Sarah Jakes Roberts has a great book called Women Evolve, and we will definitely drop that link below in the description. But I think all my ladies across the world should tap in, whether you listen to it on the audio, or you read the book. But I read the book because I wanted to really annotate throwback word high school.
Ooh,
Remember, girl,
that in a long time.
Right.
Highlight, just the colors of highlighters.
Notes all in the side of the margins and all. But yeah, just taking notes and stuff because it was a very powerful book. And it also interrupted my thoughts. It interrupted those negative thoughts. So definitely.
And then I think also with self-care, like you were saying, like prioritizing, you know, with the health and everything, and you know, just spending time for yourself. I feel like also with self-care, it's also it correlates to loving yourself as well, because you know, when you love yourself or love somebody, you do any and everything, you know, and it's unconditional. So I feel like that unconditional mentality or thought or act of service should also relate to you. So, can we talk a little bit about that? Like
self-love.
Yeah.
Self-love is the best love. Let's talk about it.
It's the song that says that.
I don't think you can even really get to the self-care portion until you love thyself. Like if you don't love yourself, how do you even like kind of function? Like how do you move? You're like at a stuck place. So I think to find that true inner self-love, which is something that I had to work on, if I can be transparent for a second, when I did start my fitness journey, some of the things the reason why I started it was because of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-love. It was all of these internal things that I wanted to better for self. So I think if you don't have self-love, I don't really feel like you can push forward with self-care because it's going to seem pointless. Like, so finding the root of how to love yourself and what causes you to feel like you can't love yourself, and then kind of starting from there. So find the root of the problem. What triggers you to feel these emotions where you feel like you don't love thyself? Once you figure that out, I feel like you can kind of move forward with loving yourself more. Then you can start implementing more self-care tactics and things like that.
I agree. I feel like with self-love, like you said, you have to love yourself in order, you know, for you to go through that process of what is it that you need to care for.
Exactly.
And I feel like how you were saying with your fitness journey, and I know we had our private conversations about that journey, And for me, that started in high school.
Yeah.
And you know, you're now like in high school, and I don't feel like it matters what generation it is, but you will go through those processes of like loving yourself. You're going through that change. You're about to, you know. So especially as a young lady,
right?
So for me, that process began in high school, and it had initially started with the beauty side of everything for me.
Yeah.
And we were talking about defining, how do we define ourselves,
yeah.
like physically wise, in that spectrum is what I mean. But that started with me just going through just acne back in the day and all of that, and you know, there were some self-esteem problems, you know, and it happens,
and it's okay.
And I realized it, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make a change. What is it that I need to do? Eating was a part of it. What am I consuming? How am I taking care of what exactly am I using on my face? Like all of that really mattered. And I had to really look into that, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna prioritize this. Because I know that at the end of the day, I am this, and I'm gonna love myself in this moment,
no matter what, in
this season. And even in evolving and, you know, my face clearing up, me going through all of that, I still love myself, but it grew. That love grew. So it's important to love yourself.
It is. It's so important.
Very, very important to love yourself. And just how we were saying, pour into others' cups. You know, you gotta be able to pour into yourself, and know for you to love somebody else, you gotta love yourself.
Absolutely.
It won't work that way where it's just one-sided. You have to genuinely love yourself, and it's an evolving thing, like we were talking about.
It is. Yeah. It's a continuous journey, but people have to realize that life is full of journeys.
Right.
Fitness is just one of the many journeys that I go through. You go through so many other journeys. I have a quote from Eleanor Brown that talks about just self-care, and I want to read it to you guys because I think it's a really, really good quote to like dissect and kind of dive into. So she says, rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve from overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. So if you're not even right within that empty vessel, if you're not even right within, if you're not finding those roots, like you had to figure out what you had to change when it came to your acne, you had to nutrition, what are you putting on those are all her roots that she had to find out and change. Then if you don't find that, you can't even overflow or pour into someone else because you don't got yourself together. You're not pouring or overflowing yourself. So I just think it's super important, like, to start with self-love, and then self-care will come throughout the journey. Yeah.
And I think also too, I think once you remove yourself from the idea of what you're doing, what is it that you're doing, like regarding self-care or self-love, that is not misconstrued with doing it for others. You know what I'm saying? I feel that process is something that should be intimate between you.
Definitely,
you know?
intimate.
And you got to do it for you.
And that's it. You got to do it for you.
However your life turns out to be, you have to do it for you. And I feel like that's important, because once you do it for somebody else, or considering your mindset for somebody else, it's not going to be genuine, and it's not going to, you know, life, like we were saying, life is life, and life can happen. It's like a what if, you know? Even though you can have that desire of, you know, of that other person or whatever, you still have to factor that in. So don't do it for nobody else. Do it for you. You have to show up for yourself. And advocate for yourself is highly, highly important. And sometimes you gotta be on yourself. You gotta be on it. Like, it's gonna be some moments, I'm telling you, and we've gone through it. We're still going through it, and I'm sure you all are going through it. So we're here. We are your community. Yes. And I love that. I think of it as an act of survival. Because it has its challenges. But we are strong. We can do it. And it's not selfish to love yourself. It's not selfish to want to create, like self-care's definition is, a pleasant place to inhabit. It's not selfish at all. So just take your time out of, if it's something in your schedule, be like, look, I need this time for myself. I need to refresh. I need to revive myself.
Use them mental health days at your job.
Yes.
Tell that job you need a mental health day.
Yes.
Because you do. And that's the explanation. Because it's just like Paighton is stressing, like it's just so important to advocate for yourself, like to be your biggest cheerleader, to be your biggest fan. And again, like I said, the outside world will try to break you. Mm-hmm. So you got to stand firm in self. And once you build that good self-love, self-care, all these great positive characteristics, you're going to feel unstoppable. You're going to feel unbreakable. You're going to be in a realm of peace where you can just flow through life, and certain things that used to trigger you or make you upset, mad, sad, ain't gonna no longer do it. It might get you, but it's gonna be like, girl, anyways, like, okay, I can go through this. I've been through this. And like Paighton said, we're still experiencing too. So like anything that we're talking about, we've either been through it, or one of us have been through it and we've discussed it, or we're going through it. Yeah. So like, that's why we say, please use us as a community. Ask questions, DM us, like whatever you guys are going through, we want you guys to feel like you can come to us, because that's why we're here. We're here to help. We're here to encourage, motivate, educate, all of the above.
Yeah, and we've even built our own community
too.
So, you know, it's nothing like having that powerful relationship. Yeah. And it's beneficial and it's important. And I will say too, we have to just be grounded. Like it starts with being grounded
and aware.
And you really have to be present. But like we were, like I was saying regarding the authenticity of yourself, that's important too. Yeah. And that's all about the self-love, learning who are you, and that's what we talk about regarding the essence of you, with our as our mission statement. You know, what is the essence of you? What defines who you are? What makes up who you are? Yes. So yeah, that's pretty much what we really wanted to talk about in this episode. Yeah. And what is a closing quote that you would like to leave as an inspiration? That has been an inspiration to you or your experience. You know, what is it that you want to
But before I get there, I do want to say one last thing, because Paighton was talking about how we build a community in between us two, like our friendship. Use your friends because they are tools. Mm-hmm. Utilize your friends, utilize your support, utilize your community when you're going through stuff. But we'll save that for next season. One quote, I don't have a quote, but what I will say is just love yourself. Like simple, just love yourself. I don't know another way to put it. I just think it's super important to like just stay grounded and stay aware and love yourself, because I can't stress it enough. The outside world, meaning social media, meaning the news, will try to break you, and they will try to break your confidence. So just stay grounded in yourself and focus on yourself, and everything else will genuinely flow. Mm-hmm.
There was something that I had wrote, I would say a few weeks ago actually, and I shared it with Maya, and I said the most powerful form of intimacy is one discovering who they are. It's an act of serving, patience, a devotion to oneself. Loving oneself is the most alluring thing that any woman and man could experience. And just kind of pulling everything all in about what we talked about today, regarding, like you saying, loving yourself and all of that, you know, that's very intimate. Yes. You know, that's the intimate, you know, personal connection you can have with yourself. Agreed. And then as well with the self-care, you're serving yourself. You're being a great service. You know, you can't say, you know, acts of service in a way from wanting that from others when you can't serve yourself. So serving yourself, being devoted, being, you know, intentional, and like we were saying, with being present as well. So that's
keep God first.
Yeah.
Keep Him first.
Yeah. So that's all we have for you. And thank you all this has been a wonderful season 1 experience.
Season 1.
And you know, like we said, feedback is you know, wanted as well for us to grow, so that we are able to still be that community for you, be there for you. Yes. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks guys. Season 1. We will see y'all season 2.
Yeah.
Where we got some good stuff coming soon. Well, that's it, ladies. Ciao for now. We'll see you.
See you. Take care of yourself.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.